Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining me today on whatever platform you're on, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I'm Dr. Michael Lee, and I really hope that you are having a great day. Let me ask you this question. How many of you want to understand how to manage change when it comes to your business? Because if you have that question, you are in the right place, because I'm going to be telling you a bit about my own experience in terms of how to not only get the best out of your team when changes happen, but also how to talk about change. Because we have to be very honest here, we have to keep changing to keep in front of how the world changes. Because if we don't change, we always get left behind. How many of you understand that? Great, thank you. So let me just say, when people actually have businesses, they usually are, particularly when they start, they have all these ideas, and then they're not really sure what to do first. And then once they get a few things done, then they think, oh, actually, I need another pair of hands. Then they start to hire a team or staff, and then they when you get staff, they don't know how to manage the staff. And when they don't know how to manage the staff, then there's chaos, and staff go, oh, I'm not sure about this, I'm not sure about that, because at the very beginning, as a business owner, even if you're a coach, you have to change a lot of things. And just think about it. How many people really like change? No one likes change, because people genuinely like to be comfortable. But I need to be honest with you here that comfort is generally overrated. And this is why we need to make sure that, yes, by challenging your team, then they can embrace change and then see the benefits of change. But if you have a lot of team members that are very, I could say, they've got a lot of resistance to change, or they've got a lot of resistance to improve themselves, they may never actually grow, not only in your own business and help in your own mission, but more importantly, they'll never actually grow in themselves. And I always believe, as a coach, because the reason why you're a coach, or the reason why you have a business, is to help people, whether they are clients, customers, patients, whoever they are, but also helping your team. So when it comes down to managing change, I'm going to give you the first step here. The first thing is honesty. You have to be upfront to your team, like, look, these things are going to change, but you don't put it out in like it's a big thing. Because although it might be a big thing, because if you make it so big, it creates the emotion of shock, or uncertainty, or even, oh my goodness, am I going to cope? Because those are the things people are going to be thinking. Because always remember, everything you do, everything that you say, and in your behaviors, it will create an emotion. And whatever emotion you want to create, it will then create a behavior. Whether it's with your team, whether it's your clients, it will create that. So this is where I want to actually challenge every one of you in this first step is this. If you want to manage change, the first thing you need to think about how are you going to communicate change in a positive way, because when it brings out in a positive way, it then creates a positive behavior. How many understand that? Great, thank you. Because if you get that, you actually then start reflecting on your own forms of communication, not just in change, but on day-to-day communication. How are you speaking to people? Am I actually bringing out the right emotion that I want? Because if you bring out the right emotion, you get out the response that you want to. So the first thing is this. So that's what I want you to think of, how you're going to communicate it. And when you look at, I'm going to give you this example, because this is a very critical skill in communication. When you want to communicate something, the end result is usually the same. You want to have everyone on board, they want to embrace the change, they're all going to work hard, and they all understand it, and they're going to keep going, and they're really motivated at it. That's the outcome, right? But the question is how to get to the outcome. There's many, many ways you can get to the same outcome. Let's say, for example, if you want to build a house, there's lots of different strategies of how you want to build a house. But at the end of the day, the product is you've built a house. And we want to just make sure that you you communicate the right way to actually follow the best strategy so that they understand this change will actually be beneficial, not only for them, but also for the people that you're trying to serve as well. And I call it out. I'm very honest. I say, look, guys, some big news has happened and we need to adapt to it, because if we don't adapt, we're going to fall behind and everyone's going to suffer. And we want to make improvements, and I get it. At the very beginning, it's going to be uncomfortable, because when we do things for the first time, we may feel a lack of confidence. We may feel like we may fail. We may feel that we're not good enough. That's okay. It happens to me as it will happen to you, because I'm just as human as you are. So this is where I give the example of using me of when I need to learn something new. It's okay to mess up a few times, because I'm not expecting perfection the first time. Because how many times does someone actually do something perfect the first time? None. Just think about when you were a baby, when you went walking for the first time. Did you just stand bolt upright, walk perfectly in the perfect posture? No. You fell down a few times, right? You fell backwards, you fell forwards, you fell sideways. But after that, it created learning. And learning created growth. Because remember, if you're not learning, you're not growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. So if you're not learning, you're actually dying. And this is why it's important to make sure that people are learning and growing in your team. So that's the first way. That's how I would communicate it. And I'll give them the steps. These are the steps I want you to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And with those steps, if you have questions, let me know. Because when I open up myself for them to ask me questions, it gives them confidence that I understand what I'm doing. But obviously, if I don't know what I'm doing, then they'll find out. That's why I would say to you, if you're going to change anything, make sure you understand and you're clear in your mind how this will benefit your mission, but more importantly, benefit your team. Okay, so the second thing, how to manage change, is once you've actually communicated that these things are going to change, the next thing is you always need to be very clear and very open with all the features and benefits for your team. It says, if we make these changes, it's going to benefit you in this way. It's going to make your job easier in these ways. And if they understand that, they're not going to be one of those that repel change. They're going to be ones that, why didn't you give me this sooner? And this is why it's important that if you are going to embrace change, you have to make sure it's positive change. If it's negative change, you're going to be hit with a lot of resistance. And with a lot of resistance, will actually not only create a lot of friction in your team, but also you won't be able to reach your mission of helping whoever you serve faster. So make sure that there's always a benefit, and you have to be very open and clear, and make sure you are thinking about being positive about it too. So when you're going to implement it, you have to give the step-by-step process for your team. Because the worst thing you want to do is say, hey, here's a change, there you go and do it. When they have no instructions, they have no clarity, they don't even know what it looks like. Because essentially what happens is, as a business owner, you would have set them up for failure. Now think about this. How many people really like failing? Generally, people don't. Generally, I actually quite enjoy failing, but most people don't like failing, because I look forward to failing because I know I'm going to learn something. But some people are like, oh, I failed, I feel guilty, I feel sorry, oh no, all these negative thoughts. But I actually see it as a positive thing. But most people see it as a negative thing. But when I give it to the team, when I need to give them what they need to do, I'm super clear. All right, this is your department. Step 1 is this. Step 2 is this. Step 3 is this. Step 4 is this. Do you understand these steps? And I make it so simple, because simplicity is key. Because if you can make it simple as a business owner, right, it actually positions you as the person that understands it as well. But if it looks too complicated, and I'll be honest here, if it's too complicated, it also means you don't understand it clear enough as well. So make it super, super clear. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And once you give them the steps, you have to ask them a simple question. Does this make sense? If it doesn't make sense, it's okay. Just ask me a question. I'm just here to help you, because I get it. When someone presents you something new for the first time, there may be a bit of overwhelm. There may be a bit of shock. But just ask me the question. And if you don't have a question now, just send me a question later. I'm always open for questions. And then guess what? Your team then feels supported. Because what you don't want to do is just throw things at them and say, hey, you're on your own, and watch them burn. You actually make them feel supported, so that whatever the change is, they understand that you're in it together. You're not just changing one person's role because you don't like them or they've done something wrong, whatever it is. It's just a case of you're doing it together so everyone can grow together to get to the next level. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, put MS in the chat so that you're understanding this. So I'm just going to take a quick shout out to you guys. If you're watching this live, put live into the chat. If it's a replay, just put replay, because I just want to know who I'm engaging with, but also who's in the room. But I want to say thank you, everyone, for being here. Of course, who are learning how to grow your business, particularly if you have a team that needs to embrace change. Okay, so we're going to number 3 now. Point 3. So once you've actually given the change, right, and you've given the steps, the next thing is that it's about checking in on them. And we call these key performance indicators. You want to have these indicators on, okay, this is the task I've given them. This is the deadline I've given them. I've given them opportunities to ask questions. Now here is their results. So they would have submitted something to you. So whatever they've submitted, or however you're measuring them, now you need to go through it with them and check it. And what's most critical at the end of it is you need to mark it at the end. Just like a teacher. All right, this is an A, this is a B, this is a C, whatever it is. Or you can use a numeric grading, like 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. All right. And then at least they know what, and then give them the reason why it's that. If it's a 9, it's, oh, you just missed this. But 9 isn't bad. I'm just giving you a 9 so that you'll never forget this lesson. Because next time you do it, you will do it. You do it properly. You do it with this teaching. So then it makes it a 10 out of 10 for them next time. But you must be grading them because it helps them learn, and then it helps them grow, and then it helps them get to the next level personally and professionally as well. But the great thing is, there will be, because like I said at the very beginning when it's change, there will be mistakes. The first time always brings on mistakes, right? And you have to ask yourself as the business owner, was I clear enough when giving the instructions? But when there are mistakes, then it's about actually helping them learn, and also then the great things they've done, celebrating with them and reinforcing the positives. So great job, you've done this really well. And not only have you done it well, you did it well the first time. So I'm really pleased because next time you do this, not only will you do it at an incredible standard, you do it even faster as well. So you can learn new things to actually improve your growth as well. So I hope everyone's actually understanding this process. I'm just going to run through this one more time. So the first thing is, when you're going to create any sorts of changes in your business, number one, you need to communicate it effectively. Make it positive, make it personal to them, and make sure it's really clear in terms of what they need to do. Number two, give them a step-by-step process that, if anything, is idiot-proof. So simple, and also give them the opportunity to ask questions at any point as well, because they may not have questions when you first give it them. And number three, you must be measuring. Measure what they've submitted, because now you're actually going to reinforce the change and say, look, you've done great, because you know what, if they do great and when it's changed, guess what happens the next time you need to change something? They think, actually, I handled change really well. I can do it again. That's what they're going to be thinking about. So that's why you need to reinforce it and say, look, I've done it, and I've done it to a good standard, and then you celebrate with them. So that is my 3-step process for creating any changes in a business, but more importantly, to help your team members grow so that they can help you help more people in your business and in your service as well. So I hope that you found this video really helpful, particularly if you have a business. But if you have any questions, just put it into the comments. We check them all, and I would love to check in with you to see how you're doing when it comes down to your business, the things that you're struggling with, and if you need help with it, I'm more than happy to help. Other than that, thank you so much for joining me today, this Friday, and I look forward to seeing many of you next week for the next live, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube, where I'll be joining you to give you my top tips to help you grow to the next level for your business so that you can serve more people and make this world a better place. So thank you so much again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a lovely weekend. Bye for now.